Welcome back to What Arty Noobs with General Disturbance. This is an Indien-Panzer. It's a Tier 8 German medium tank. It's located on the southwestbourne of Arctic region, otherwise known as Mannheim Line, and it's under the command of the BassmanFromHell. Now we're continuing the series of battles on his birthday, so we've got to the Indian tank. Well, this was a design that was actually created by Porsche. They did most of the design work, and Daimler was supplying the engine. Zahnradfabrik were creating the tracks, and Ruhrstahl the weapon system. Basically, it's a 90mm armed tank, which is quite a novel design. It's got fairly thin armour, a very thin turret, you can see, and it was put together as a design, 250 alpha, penetration 218 and 259 with premium HCR. It was put forward by the Germans. In fact, the Indians went to the Germans and said, could you design us a tank? And they did, but they were in competition with the British, and in fact it was the British company Vickers who actually came up with the winning design, and their tank was called the Viijayanta. And if you want to know more about that tank, there's a really brilliant video by Ed Webster, who had his birthday just yesterday, I think it was, and he's actually in the Armoured Archives channel. He's actually done a full video all about the actual tank that won the competition, which the Viijayanta, which is basically very similar to, well, it is the Vickers Mark I main battle tank, but it's very similar in many ways to the Chieftain and also the Centurion. I say that because it's actually got parts from both. It's a very lightweight tank. It's a medium tank, just like this one. This one's got a weight of, if I remember correctly, 14 to 43 tons. That's actually, I think it was a 37-ton design. And I think the British tank was also about the same. So what they were after was a medium tank, but they were actually designed, or the Indian factory that was built near Madras, or which is now Chennai, actually is called the Heavy Tank Production Facility. Oh god, that scorpion went up. The reason why the British won the competition was basically that they not only offered to actually design the tank, a really good tank, and it was a good tank because it had the L7A1 gun, but they designed a tank which the Indians could build. The problem with the Indien-Panzer is that it has a cast turret, and of course the Indians at the time didn't have the design to actually manufacture, or foundry works that could actually make cast turrets and all. So it would have been a bit of a problem for the Indians if they'd actually gone ahead with the German design, and it worked out really well because the Vickers Mark I was a very, very good tank. It's the Viijayanta. They built over 2,000 copies of it, and of course it was mostly built, I'd say the first 90 tanks were built in Britain, and a few tanks after that were built with British parts, but the majority of the Viijayantas were actually built by the Indians using Indian equipment and Indian parts. And the British not only built the factory for them, they also built all of the works, all the engineering schools, all the schools for the ordinary children. They built everything for them, so the Indians had the whole works. They not only had a tank, they had the design, they had the ability to build their own parts, to remanufacture it, and in fact actually, even though they built it with the same engine that was in the Chieftain, which was a dreadful Leyland engine, which was terrible in actual working operation in Britain, in India the engine was actually rather good, and they kept the engines running for 30 years, whereas Ed Webster points out the British could hardly keep the engines running for 30 minutes before they break down. And the reason was mainly that the Indian tanks, the Viijayantas, were much lighter than the other tanks, the Chieftain and the like. That was good. RAM that did more damage than a shot. Got another shot in. It's going to take one more shot to kill. Oh! Well, he got it. He actually got the STA one. Now, can he get the same X1390? Puts one in his rear, but he doesn't get the kill. That goes to the VK4502. So you hear me talking whimsically about the Vickers Mark 1, but it was a very, very successful tank. And although a lot of people joked about it at the time because it was such a lightweight tank, it really did work. Bassman's being punished by the SU-14 too, and also the M53, M55 at the moment. I think they recognise that he's a serious threat. After all, he does have a 90mm gun, he's fairly mobile, he's got good gun depression, a very narrow turret which is very difficult to hit, and very good DPM as well. But the only bad thing about this tank is its acceleration's a bit average. It's got fairly weak armour, so if you do hit it, you tend to go through. And it's also got a fairly low hit point pool as well. As you can see, he's only got 1300 hit points. It's got poor camouflage, poor view range, but I think the reason why it lost the competition against the British was down in the end to the fact that Vickers were prepared to give the Indians everything they wanted. Their own design facility, their own manufacturing works, everything they needed to start building main battle tanks in India at a very, very cheap price. And that's how the Viijayanta became one of the most produced tanks, certainly in Asia, competing in many ways with the Soviet tanks, the T-55 or T-54, and of course their further developments, the T-62 and the like. It really was a significant tank, the Viijayanta. So it's interesting that they feature the Viijayanta in the game, or rather the Indien-Panzer in the game, but they don't feature the Viijayanta, which it would actually be quite interesting if they did. But of course, it is an Indian tank. Even though the first one was built in Britain, the latter designs were pure Indian. We put together the design initially, but they made it their own, and they really liked it as well. I think the Indians really had a good deal there. M53, M55 went somewhere obvious, and he took a hit there. Only 93 hit points from the shot, but he can get the kill. Oh, couldn't get it. Standard reload for this tank is 6.9 seconds. His reload time is slightly lower than that, but he has got a good crew. Now he's got no fire extinguisher. If he does get satellite, he's going to have a bit of a difficult time unless he's got a good crew. He's actually got binos, as you can see there, which have engaged because he was sitting still for enough time. There's only 3 enemies left: an SU-130PM, the ISU-152, and the SU-14-2. And there's the ISU-152. He's just made himself known, but he's being very how shall I say, cautious. He's staying well below that ridgeline, which makes it difficult to kill him. But the SU-130 and the SU-152 can both finish off. They can both finish off Bassman with one shot. And luckily the SU-130 was looking the wrong way. But where is that box, that school bus rather, not the box tank. Where's the school bus? There, oh, there he is. He's actually the other side of the hedges. And the SU-152's moved south. He's actually down in the tree line. So we're going to aim at the top of the school bus. Nice shot. That's a high roll if I remember correctly. Looking at the alpha, 320. 250, sorry. If he's got an alpha of 250, oh, it is the 90mm. And the last enemy, the SU-152, was killed. So that is the end of the game. Here's the end of battle results. It was a first class tanker for the Bassman from Hell in the Indien-Panzer. He managed to get his first mark of excellence during that game. He got a fire for effect for doing more damage than hit points for his own vehicle, and he got a Confederate medal because he hit more of the enemy than anyone else, at least 6 tanks subsequently taken down by other teammates, and he did get 6 exactly which were taken down by others. He got a win rate of 5,277 from that game, which is Super Unicum standard, so let's have a look at team score and see where he was. Well, he didn't get the highest damage in the game because that went to a Conway who got 2,781 hit points. Bassman got 2,514 in second place, and in third place it was the enemy M53, M55, and some of those hit points belonged to Bassman. He got 2,224. When it came to kills, it was the Conway and the Striv S1. They managed to get 3 kills apiece. And we can see that Bassman's in joint second position with 2 kills alongside the Lorraine 15551, the VK4502A, and 3 members of the enemy team, their Pantera, their SU-130PM, and their ISU-152. When it came to base XP, it was Bassman. Yes, he was right at the front. He was spotting basically as well. 1,016 base experience points, 843 went to the AMX 1390, and 802 went to the Lorraine 15551. He was the only one to get over 1,000 base. He fired 14 rounds in that game, got 11 direct hits and 10 penetrations, and 1 splash. Damage of 2,514 hit points, of which 93 were at more than 300 meters. He received 3 hits by way of splash damage from enemy Arty. Yes, they were definitely trying to kill him because they could see he was a serious threat. And he spotted 4 enemy vehicles, damaged 8 of the enemy, killed 2, did 434 hit points of damage assistance. I think that was actually spotting assistance in this game. On a premium count, he earned 38,168 credits, and after a repair and ammunition resupply took away a profit of 26,125 credits. He got 1 bond for a mission achievement, and 1,524 XP, and there was no multipliers, so that's all the experience points he took away. So during the entire battle, I was basically ranting on about the Viijayanta, the Indian tank, not the Indien-Panzer, which of course is German for Indian tank. But the fact of the matter is the Viijayanta was a very interesting project, and I suppose you could say that the Indien-Panzer, well, it was the first attempt by Germany to start producing Panzers after the end of the Second World War, and after most of the people who'd been locked up for war crimes, you might say, were then released and started manufacturing again. Of course, as we know, Ferdinand Porsche, who was actually the lead designer on this particular design, went on to produce a company which manufactures sports cars, and he did rather well in that, whereas he didn't do so well when it came to the Indien-Panzer, because of course the British offered the Indians exactly what they wanted, and they willingly took it up, because of course as well they got not only money for the huge bundles of money for the tank, but they also got concessions on Indian products such as tea, which of course the British love drinking. So if you want to watch the video by Ed Webster, it's on Armoured Archives. I'll leave a link down in the description so you can go to the video specifically and have a look at it. But it actually does contain some bits about the Indien-Panzer during that video. But I highly recommend his subscribing to his channel, because it's very interesting to see the background behind these tanks, to actually know how they were designed and what actually happened to them as they were developed, because it does have a bit of significance in the game, funnily enough. I hope you enjoyed this replay. If you did, please give this video a like. Do subscribe to our channel. Leave a little comment down below because it feeds the algorithm. And there's going to be more videos from the Bassman from Hell, so stick around and thank you for watching.